All right, our next guest is an up-and-comer in the world of pro wrestling. You can see her live on November 5th for Northeast Wrestling's Autumn Ambush in Waterbury, Connecticut against Deonna Purrazzo. Please welcome Maria Manic. Maria, how's it going?
Hi, how are you?
Doing good. Welcome. From what I understand, you've just recently moved to New Jersey. How's that been going?
It's awesome. I wasn't sure how I would like it, but I think I fit in a lot better here. And there's definitely a lot more wrestling opportunities up north. Down in Virginia, there just really wasn't much, and I was traveling so far every single weekend. And I don't mind traveling, but it was insane driving 8 hours to shows, to be able to wrestle. So I'm definitely loving it up here.
Definitely, and you're going to be spoiled because up here in the Northeast, especially with Northeast wrestling, it's pretty much the place to be for pro wrestling. So you
Oh
made the
yes,
right
for
move.
sure.
You made the right move. Now, did you grow up watching pro wrestling, or did you kind of fall into it?
So I started watching wrestling kind of early high school. So I wouldn't say I grew up on it, as in my family never had it on. It was something that I found on my own.
Hmm.
But from the moment I started watching it, I was kind of like, this is something I see myself doing. I didn't think that I would do it. I didn't think it would actually happen, but it definitely was something I always thought about. Now, I was not aware of independent wrestling until I was about 16, 17.
Hmm.
So once I figured that out, I was like, wow, this is actually, realistic. This could actually happen. I always thought, the WWE was just, they all knew somebody, or they were all, models or this and that, which at the time a lot of them were. I didn't know that you could potentially make it up there from the independent wrestling scene. So once I got more informed about that, I was 17 at the time, so I was like, Mom, Dad, I'm doing this. And they had to come in and sign the waivers, and they were so freaked out. They were like, what are you doing? And I remember them, they kept saying, oh, this is just a phase, it'll last 3 months, and then she'll get over it. And it's like, okay, I'm still doing it.
Well, definitely. Well, let's rewind for a minute. How did you get into the world of pro wrestling? How did you get trained and get ready for it?
So I started out in a school in Virginia.
Hmm.
I actually moved twice when I was in Virginia, so I've been a lot of places. But so I started out at a school called GXW in Virginia,
Hmm.
and then I moved. I was a little bit up north, or not north. I was down towards Virginia Beach, if you know where that is.
Hmm. Yep.
So I was training with Damian Wayne there, which was awesome. I loved training with him. And then I started having some matches, and the only problem was I love training with Damian, but there weren't many kids at the school. Everywhere in Virginia, there's just not many people. There's not many wrestlers, so it was hard to get in the ring and do stuff when a lot of times it was just me and him. So that's when I was I had met DJ Hyde early on in my career,
Hmm.
and DJ, a lot of people have their opinions on him.
Hmm.
But the thing about DJ is that he is brutally honest, and he was the first person that was completely honest with me and told me, hey, you're not good. You need to get better. You have so much potential, and I want to make you better. And that actually it upset me at first, but then I thought about it, and I'm like, no one's ever been brave enough to tell me that.
Sure.
It's a pretty girl. They want to tell her she's this and that, but he was
Yep.
very real with me. So I started coming to the school a few nights, doing dojo wars up there and stuff, and I just loved it. I love everybody there, so I was like, all right, let's make this happen. So I just kind of packed up everything and moved up.
Oh, great. Now, since the move, where have you been training lately? Have you been anywhere in New Jersey?
I'm training at CZW.
Okay. How's that been going for you since the move?
I love it. It's tough. I'm not going to say that it's I say that it's
Sure.
fun or it's that. It's very cutthroat. But here it's if they're going to force me to do what they want to see me do. So, if I try to slack and say, oh, I'm scared to do this, I'm not leaving until I do it.
Hmm.
So it's forced me to get a lot better. And, I've been there for about 3 months now. Everyone's been they've seen tremendous improvements from me. I'm finally getting it. And just, you don't really understand things until you drill it in your mind and you do it,
Sure.
every single day. And they train Monday through Thursday. So it's,
Hmm.
so much opportunity. Like I said, the guys are tough there. They hit hard.
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
it's a
and
different type of wrestling, but I
sure.
am in love with it.
Definitely. Now, has there been any one piece of advice that you were given, either maybe before you started training or while you started training, that really maybe stuck in your head to help you succeed in pro wrestling?
That's a good question. I feel like there's tons of things. Um, I don't know if this has to do with training, but like, one thing I was told a long time ago is do not let other people's opinions phase you in any way,
Hmm.
because people want to see you fail. People do not want to see you make it to the top. They don't want to see you get better. And it's like, no matter how good you are, there's someone that's going to have something negative to say about you. No matter who you are, no matter what you do, it does not matter. There will be people that hate you. And that's just the reality of not just wrestling, but the reality of life. So, and it used to really offend me, and and it only offended me because I care so much about wrestling, and wrestling is all that I have, and it's, the most important thing to me. So when people would say things about me, involving wrestling, it tore me apart, but now it's like, it's not going to stop me from doing what I want to do, and it's not going to stop me from pushing harder and harder. So,
Definitely. Now, as a pro wrestler, is there any wrestlers that you may have maybe modeled yourself after, or anybody that you kind of to look to maybe borrow some things or to help develop your character?
yes, and I say this all the time. She's my favorite wrestler. She was the reason I got into wrestling. That's Beth Phoenix.
Mhm.
Now, I don't want to say I jack her moves or anything, but I definitely I take things and add twists to them. And
Sure.
there's things that I do in the ring and I see myself do, and I'm like, Beth did that, and I didn't even mean to take that. Like I just I've seen it so many times that I started doing it and it worked. You know, just and not even necessarily her moves, but just her persona. I
Mhm.
love her persona and her character and everything about her. So I definitely, I would say I take a lot after her.
All right. Now, let's fast forward a little bit. Like I said earlier, on November 5th, you'll be facing an opponent you're really no stranger to. It's
Mm-mm.
Deonna Purrazzo. You two will face off in Waterbury at Northeast Wrestling's Autumn Ambush. What does Deonna have in store for her?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I love Deonna, but she's one of the top competitors on the independent scene. Everybody knows that, so she's definitely going to bring it to me. You never know you never know what's coming from Deonna because she's so unique and she has such a unique style. You never see her do the same stuff, so I don't know. I'm nervous and excited. I was at the Super 8 tournament with her this past weekend, and she won for the second year in a row. So that was awesome to see her do that.
All right. Well, if for any Northeast Wrestling fans listening out there that may have never seen you before, why should they get on the Manic bandwagon?
Okay, I definitely can say this about myself. I am very entertaining. I don't know how, because it's always different, but I am extremely entertaining, and I am not someone you want to miss. So there's a reason they call me Manic. And you'll find out if you come see me.
Definitely. Now, 2016 has been a big year for women's wrestling. You also appeared in the New Girls in Town, a resurgence of women's wrestling. But now with the number one company recognizing women's wrestling a lot more than ever before, how does it feel to be a part of, this new women's revolution, if you will, just basically putting women's wrestling back on the map?
It's awesome. Like, when I started watching it, it was totally different. I mean, it was kind of coming up, but, I never thought it would be where it is today. And it's motivating. This is like the time for women, and it's crazy that I happen to come up at this exact time. It's a lot of pressure, too, because you really have to step up your game, and everyone will tell you being pretty doesn't count anymore. I mean, it helps, but it's not going to cut it. You have to have that in-ring skill, and you have to be tough, and you have to be dedicated. Like I said, for me, it's just motivating.
Sure. And now, as a pro wrestler, one thing I've noticed lately, especially with the WWE, they've been using a lot of independent talent on the shows, whether it be Raw or SmackDown or whatnot. As an independent wrestler, does that kind of give you hope to where, at times a lot of these companies wouldn't really use independent stars like that? You basically, have to get into the system, work your way up, and then, one day to find that, 5 minutes of fame on the main roster. But now it's just like they're plucking anybody from the
Mm-hmm.
independent scene. Does that give you, I don't know, like hope, or say like anything can happen to where, no matter
Yeah.
how you're working at it, you could be put on TV any day,
It's crazy because, like I said, that never used to happen.
Yeah.
That was, it would be. I remember Beth would have some squash matches, but it wasn't like a regular thing. I was actually going to say I'm driving to ACW right now, and the promoter is James Ellsworth, who's a close friend of mine. And, it's crazy. James, before he was even, before all this started, I was at a show with him, and we were talking about, how we want to make it one day, how we want to get to the top. And a month later, I see James.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, you really can't. I feel like great things happen when you least expect them to. So you really have to be prepared at all times. It's crazy. I feel like there's no standard anymore. It used to be, you have to weigh this much, you have to be this tall, you have to look a certain way.
Yep.
Now it's there's no standard. It's whatever they want. It's the flavor of the week. So you really, it's scary. You don't know. You don't know when your time's coming.
Definitely.
But, I just want to always be prepared. So if it ever does, I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, Maria, we barely scratched the surface with you, but we're excited to see you on November 5th for Northeast Wrestling's Autumn Ambush. Can you let everybody out there know maybe where they can find you in the social media world out there to keep up to date with you?
Yes. So Instagram is maria.manic, MariaManic. Twitter, Maria Manic _XO. And then Facebook, I don't know what the link is, but you can look up Maria Manic public page. And I usually post all my dates and everything on there so you can find where I am. And yeah, I'm just starting to use Twitter. I'm new to Twitter. I don't really understand it, but I'm forcing myself to tweet every day. So.
Great. Well, Maria, we wish you nothing but the best in your career moving forward, and we can't wait to see you on November 5th.
Thank you. I'll see you there, too.